Space wolf research. In the heart of the Uintah Basin, this piece of property is in good unexplainable phenomenon company, as it shares a property line and is south of the famous Skinwalker Ranch. Owner, Ryan Burns, a historian and personal experiencer of all things strange throughout the basin, was kind enough to invite MUFON of Utah out for a weekend in April of 2024. Up until that point, I was simply a believer in the UAP universe, and after staying less than a day at Space Wolf, I became a witness to some of the bizarre things happening on this property and all around the Uintah Basin. Ryan showed us a specific part of the property that is high in activity, including an incident in which a lightning bolt completely destroyed and set fire to a 40-foot RV, leaving twisted, melted pieces of metal all over the area. He later placed a shipping container in the exact same location that the vehicle was parked on. The container originally was running east to west. One day he received a panicked call from the land caretaker saying the shipping container was gone. When Ryan rushed to the property, they walked up to the area only to realize the container was not gone, but had mysteriously been turned to be facing north to south and was obscured from view by the cabin nearby.
The container was right here, and then I get a call from my caretaker, and he thought it just disappeared because it was turned. So looking, he couldn't see it. And when you look at it, you're like, yeah, it's just kind of like it was obfuscated from view. He's like, your container's gone. I'm like, what? Not again. Like, how is this possible? Like, there should be some...
No scrape marks were visible on the ground. Only a couple of larger rocks underneath the container were disturbed, meaning whatever turned this container did so by lifting it into the air. After the grand tour, the weather rolled in and it began to pour rain. While taking shelter and having lunch, Ryan explained that typically either during a new moon or after extreme weather, the area is recharged and lights up with activity. Once the rain settled down and the clouds moved along, Cody and I decided to wander the perimeter of the property, walking along the fence line that separates Space Wolf Research and Skinwalker Ranch. Along the way, we continuously had a tri-field meter out taking electromagnetic readings. We definitely noticed the closer you went north towards Skinwalker Ranch, the more frequent and intense the spikes in the readings were. Along a wooded area of the property, we stumbled upon what appeared to be an almost 2-inch long tooth. The closest match to an animal in that area, given its shape and size, would be that of a canine, possibly a large coyote or even a black bear. Though hearing of the lore involving multiple sightings of a dire wolf in the area, including the famous story of the Shermans encountering a giant wolf attacking their livestock while living on Skinwalker Ranch, couldn't help but make us question, what type of tooth is it? Looking up fossilized dire wolf teeth returned eerily similar results to what we found on Space Wolf property. Later that night, we decided to launch a drone into the air to hover and observe the night sky. When firing up the drone and controller, we were greeted with a compass error. Ensure there are no metal or magnetic objects near the aircraft kept flashing off and on rapidly while the drone was awaiting GPS connections for the flight. This specific drone has been flown over 50 times with a total of over 15 hours in flight and over 100 miles traveled, and this is the first time I have ever encountered this error. I decided to take out my iPhone and check the compass. I was met with another error telling me that the phone compass could not find true magnetic north. Cody, not too long after, opened up his stargazing app to map the sky. Images of constellations on his phone kept bouncing left to right rapidly as his phone was struggling to find true north.
Like it was clear over here where this dog head was like in the middle.
Yeah, look at it jump.
I'm holding it as yeah, look.
Whoa.
Just when we thought things couldn't get any more abnormal, Cody and I decided to set up a trail cam facing north along a wooded area on the east side of Space Wolf. We strapped the camera down and didn't get too far away from it when we heard a strange sound that wasn't emanating from around us, but rather the sky above our heads.
Did you hear that? Yeah.
A quick but odd whooshing sound that Cody likened to waving a big piece of tin. To me, it sounded like a sound effect that you would use in a movie to depict one quick flapping of a pterodactyl's giant wings. We would continue to intermittently hear this sound from the sky. At one point, I noticed a bright flash of light. It looked like a very bright star that began moving from south to north for just a few seconds before it completely disappeared. Even though it was a clear night, in complete disbelief at what was happening, I had to ask Cody if there was a cloud in the sky to possibly explain how this thing disappeared.
Is that a cloud right there, Cody? Something just flashed up there and then it's gone.
Cody would have his own individual sighting of the same thing I described, only the unknown self-illuminated star-like object he saw went directly downward towards the Earth. No tail was seen on these objects as you would see in a meteor, aka a shooting star. With eyes to the sky, we both then witnessed one unknown object together, which we were lucky enough to get on camera.
Whoa! The f is that?
Felt like that just appeared there. Now it's going away. Holy
Yeah. Did you see it? Yeah.
In total, we heard around 10 of those unusual bassy sounds coming from above us. And once those noises halted, so did the objects in the sky. In moments like this, you begin to try and rationalize what happened. Since it didn't appear to be meteors we were witnessing, our next thought was perhaps satellites. Only, during the same time of the sightings, we happened to see a satellite cruising along the sky. Nothing we saw looked anything like this satellite. We forged on walking to the end of the property line, circled around, and then headed back for camp. It was then when Ryan texted me. He wrote, "I think you guys went beyond the boundaries, if it's the lights I'm seeing." I found this text puzzling as we never crossed the boundaries. I asked him if by chance any of them were moving around or clanging metal to maybe explain the sounds we heard. He writes, "No. We did see a light above you guys in a tree. When we returned to camp, we told Ryan about the unsettling sounds we heard, as well as the moving lights we saw in the sky. Ryan began to tell us that he could see our flashlights off in the distance. He decided to take a better look with his night vision camera. He noticed a mysterious luminous object closer north towards Skinwalker Ranch that was hovering above our heads and slowly following us around for an estimated 30 seconds. This light could only be seen in night vision. Fortunately, he was able to snap a picture of this object before it disappeared. Cody and I both felt maybe it was time to stop wandering for the night and not continue to press our luck. We both racked our brains trying to figure out just what exactly we saw that night, and more unexplainable and eerie, the sounds we heard coming from the sky. Either way, it's safe to say Space Wolf research is definitely alive, and it's not the humans wandering the grounds I'm talking about. Thank you to Ryan Burns, and to all of you, keep watching the skies.